Okay, now our third gem in Gemstone Education at Clean Green Gems. Third red ruby, but we hadn't decided it was a ruby yet, so let's go to our home screen, plain colour gem, select, and here we have red. It was a red, blood red, and usual suspects, diamond, ruby, spinel, rubellite, etc. Okay, next. Our tools are decent, and fine glass is pretty essential for this one. It's an oval, it's regular, it's a ideal cut. All good so far. Millimeters, it's large, 12. And width's 10. Okay. Did it have a window? No. Okay, it all looks very good. Moment, let's gem. If it was in a ring or a diamond ring or surrounded by diamonds, obviously valuable, more valuable. This was clear. Didn't have any dents around the outside. Problems, it was well cut. Okay. Let's have a look here. Yeah, it had a little cloud on one side when we look closely, and it had some dark spots here and there. How apparent were they? We can see them. It's clouds, dark spots. Okay. So it was relatively clear. It's not out of focus as is. No, the other two there. And the colour change, none, just brighter. Go here. Okay, we'll still the usual suspects are there. So we take it outside and do our sunlight test. And what do we find? We find that it's got some snake bites, or little tiny pairs. Very little ones. Very little ones like this. Not as big as a zircon, but small. So it pairs, it's a ruby. Let's look at the colour dispersion. The colour dispersion on rubies, as we know, is medium. So it's pairs. So we have our ruby, medium, and here we are. Okay, this is red, one colour, oval, regular, ideal. No window, loose gem, clear. It's got clouds, dark spots, which we can see. Let's just select this. We've missed out something here, right? And let's just go back. See what we missed. What we've selected. No, pairs. We haven't selected. We go back again. Back. We missed out something here. What do we have? We should have selected pairs there. Next. We're okay. Pairs again. Next. Okay. So we have a ruby here, so it should now show up. There it is. And it's $38,000, nearly $40,000, with a 6 points, a huge ruby. Now that's a little bit of a giveaway for a start. Such a big ruby, even though the price is very large. This is wholesale price. The only problem with this particular gem is there's some clouds and dark spots. Now, clouds indicate this ruby has been processed. It may well be natural, it could have been a rather large natural, but it's been heated. And the clouds indicate that flux, there's some sort of flux has been introduced in the heating process, just like a blacksmith uses flux to join two pieces of metal together, and he uses sand. The processes of rubies in Canterbury and many other places use various types of fluxes to join or weld or fill holes in the ruby, and those fluxes aren't as clear as natural ruby, so we get little clouds where the flux has been used, and the dark spots are an indication of the ruby being overheated and create little burn spots in the ruby. This means that it's a processed ruby. It doesn't mean it's worthless, it just means that it's not worth 38,000. I think for this particular ruby I paid less than $1,000, but they are saleable. But anyone who thinks that now they can get a over 6 carat ruby for a reasonable price, it's got to be thinking incorrectly. An 8 carat ruby, the one that's on the heading of my is an $8 million ruby, clear 8 carats. So it's 6.7 carats reaching up there. It's got to be suspicious. It is a natural ruby, of course, that's been processed, and that's what happens. I've no problem with people selling them or on selling them, which I've done in the past, so long as it's clearly established and you indicate that it's been processed. A natural ruby that's been heated, or a natural ruby that's heated using flux, or a natural ruby that's overheated, whatever. However, this is the third ruby, and it gives you a good indication, as we see in the description. It mentions the processes. Pink ruby is actually the best common shape, is oval, all the rest of it. Figures between cadmium. Now, most of the that's an interesting point. Is most of the processed rubies that are African come from Tanzania, and some of them can be very dark. If the ruby's too dark, in other words, it's opaque, you can hardly see through it, then they make them into cabochons. Now, cabochons, normally processed ruby rough, will not have a star, so it'll be just a round cabochon, which you have difficulty determining whether it's processed or not, but cabochons at large sizes are fairly cheap. Colours can range from pinkish to darkish red. The pick is between cadmium red African or magenta Asian. The mines in Burma and Magog, there's some ruby do come from Vietnam, and in they're the pinkish ruby. But a lot of these processed rubies are bought by India and Pakistan to sell to brides on their wedding. So they're useful. They're mostly heat treated and filled with flux or ground corundum. Thailand is the main producer of such low grade rubies. Purchasing ruby is difficult, as prices can range from upwards of a few dollars to tens of thousands. Sometimes, in the 88%, a few might be discovered that are heated but unfilled. These are worth a reasonable $100 plus per carat price, if well cut and good fire and only natural inclusions. Well, that concludes the little ruby expose. we'll do some blue sapphire, which has a lot of similarities with the Rubens. But until then, I'm signing off with Rubies.